Hello.
Hello, Jeff. Brian from Rockeyez. How you doing today?
Ryan, what's going on, man?
Very good. Everything's going pretty good.
Excellent.
Okay, let's start a little bit about Tricks Under My Sleeve. That was really recorded back in the 90s, right?
Long time ago, yeah. We started recording it at the Barge Studio in 1990.
Right. And actually, we reviewed it last year as, I guess, a re-recording or whatever it was.
It was a re-release on Z Records.
It was a great label.
Okay. Yeah, it was a re-release on Z Records, and that came out last May. It's the same recording that we originally released in Japan in 1996, but it was re-EQ'd, and the volume was turned up a bit.
Right. Now you re-released it again just digitally in 2012, right?
Right, yeah. The contract has come back to me, and I decided to put it out digitally because it hadn't been done that way before.
Right. Now you're also working on new material for a brand new release at the end of this year?
That's right, yeah. I've been working on new stuff for a second Steele album since, before we put out the first one. I've got a whole lot of songs just sitting here waiting to be put out.
Wow. Now, let's get back to your history a little bit. Actually, my writer was telling me that you were actually over my house when I did a photo session.
Yeah, in fact, I think I still have those pictures.
Wow.
That was with the little sister, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I may have a few of those shots just laying around here. I scanned a bunch of little sister pictures in that I had in a box. Those may be yours.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all like pose shots at my other house, actually, upstairs, and everybody was there. It went pretty well, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Also seeing Little Sister live was a lot of fun. Did you do anything before Little Sister?
I had a couple of bands that I was in myself, or bands that I was lead singing and playing lead guitar on, but nothing you'd probably ever heard of. And then for one summer, I actually played guitar in Dave LaRue's band. He was doing it's a little side thing while he was playing with Glenn Burtnick. He was doing like a jazz fusion thing at the Court Tavern every Wednesday in, I think, 85, 86. And I was playing guitar in that band, which was, that's a whole other level of playing that I was, 20 years old trying to keep up with Dave LaRue and Van Romain. Right, that was quite an adventure.
Wow. So, back in the day with Little Sister and compared to now, how's the recording changed that much?
Oh my God, it's completely different. What used to require $1 million studio and an engineer that would cost you $300 or $400 an hour, if you really wanted to do album quality stuff, you could easily spend $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 doing 5 or 6 songs, and now you can do it at home on a Macintosh. This Macintosh that I'm talking to you on is the one that I use for my recording studio.
Wow.
So yeah, it's completely different. I mean, you still need to have someone with a good ear mix it and master it. But as far as getting good sound down on tape, if you know anything about, you're not using tape anymore, but if you know anything about how to get good sound on tape in the first place, you can easily do it with gear that pretty much anybody can afford, I think.
Right. Now, talking about the new album that's going to come out, everybody says album.
Yeah, it's an album. We're not going to call it a CD because it may or may not be on a disc,
Right.
But it's going to be 10 songs, and why not call it an album?
Great. You have musicians playing, different guys playing, or what's up with that?
Right now, the plan is just that it's going to be just me and Steve. You remember Steve from Little Sister, the bass player?
Right.
He's the permanent bass player in Steele. I am laying down tracks myself. I'm doing drums and guitars, and I'm laying down rough bass guitar. And then I'm going to send all this stuff to Steve and have him lay down the final bass guitar tracks at his place. So, there's another thing about recording. He's got gear, I've got gear here. He doesn't need to have anything too fancy to lay down a bass guitar track and send it back to me, and we can use Dropbox to move the files back and forth if they're large,
Right.
So once I actually have about 4 songs already roughed out, in production mode. So I've got drum tracks that I like the notes of anyway. The rhythm is all there, the timing is all there. The sounds of the drums are going to change because I'm going to do that with MIDI. They're all MIDI tracks, and I'm triggering a drum machine or Reason triggering the drums in there, and I'm tweaking the drum sounds there. But I've got about 4 songs roughed out to the point where he can lay down the bass tracks, and he's been pretty busy. I've been pretty busy, so I haven't been able to set it up to send it to him yet. But as soon as I can do that, he'll be putting down tracks for that.
Right. Now,
pretty much everything else. Pretty much everything else I'm going to record myself, if possible. It'd be great to have somebody come in and do a live drum track, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that to happen.
Right. Now, after recording and stuff like that, I guess you'll go digital again?
Well, I'm going through CD Baby with this release, so CD Baby has a pretty good deal for making discs. So if it turns out that I'm going to make discs with it, which is possible, there's some people who are hardcore disc collectors, and they were people who bought the Steele CD that we just put out, and they bought the one back in 1996. So if they want CDs, I'll make sure that CDs get made.
Right.
It might be a limited run, might be 500 or 1,000 or whatever like that. But if people want CDs, I'll make sure they get done. But it'll definitely be on digital and CD at the same time when it's released.
Very cool. I was reading some of the comments, and they really like the CD Tricks Under My Sleeve. One person actually mentioned that you kind of sound a little bit like Sebastian Bach. How's that feel?
That's not bad. That guy's got a great voice. But we opened for Skid Row when we were in Little Sister once.
Wow.
Yeah, it's us and Trickster and Skid Row at the Stone Pony. That was a pretty cool show. Oh yeah.
Seems like everybody's all the Jersey boys are coming out with new CDs. Trickster,
I know, Trickster's got theirs out. Yep, Taiketo's putting a new one out. Yeah, it's like old home week, except we're all spread all over the world now. Yeah.
Right. Even Trickster, like their main base is here, but the singer's I don't know, Texas or wherever he's from. So I guess a lot of stuff's done with WAV files and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're doing it the same way that we're doing it. Actually, there's a keyboard player that played on the latest one, Eric Ragno. You know Eric?
Yes, I know. Very good friend.
I just met Eric out here, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and he's a great guy. He played on that record, and I'm pretty sure he didn't fly back to Jersey to do his tracks. So, he lives out here. He's only a couple of miles away from me.
Very cool. Yeah. So, what do you do in your spare time then?
Man, in my spare time, I make the Steele album.
Right.
Most of the time, I'm an illustrator now. That's my job. I work on TV commercials and TV shows and video games, doing concept art and storyboards, and that's pretty much my main gig. I have a 2-year-old son. I got married a few years back. Here, what is it now? It's 3.5 years, I think. Yeah, about 3 years, and we have a little boy who's 2. And so, being a daddy takes up quite a bit of my time. So, I guess my spare time I sleep when I have spare time to sleep.
Right. And so I guess you would do the cover art yourself?
Yeah, I did the cover art for all of the records so far myself, including the new release. Just whip together a thing real quick to have a new cover for it.
Cool. And what about a live show?
Oh man, boy, would I love to do one. Obviously, logistically, you can imagine it's kind of difficult. I'm in Los Angeles. Steve is in New Orleans. We had talked about doing a show last December in New Jersey, but the plans just never kind of fell together. We would still like to do that. I'd actually like to get us to the East Coast and hook up with some friends of ours, who are still there. There's never been a full permanent band for Steele. I'd like to get Steve and I in the same place at the same time, in New Jersey at some point later this year. Get some friends to help out. We're thinking about, we know Luke Darnell will do it. You know Luke Darnell?
No, I don't know him.
Luke, man, what band did he used to be in? What was the name of that band? It's in my brain somewhere, but I won't be able to find it before we're done talking. Luke's a friend of ours from way back from Morristown. Great singer, great guitar player. We've already talked to him about doing him being second guitar and singing backup vocals. And then we would need a drummer. There's a few possibilities for that. So if we can do that, if I can get us all in the same place at the same time, I'll try to work it out so we play a few gigs. Play in New York somewhere, play in New Jersey somewhere, maybe play up in Boston or down in Baltimore. It'd be nice to do a little regional tour for a couple of weekends,
Cool.
So, but no concrete plans yet. Still working on that. Obviously, really hard to do with everything else that's going on.
Right. How's the sales compared digitally to actually a physical CD?
Well, I don't know. I just put the thing out, so I only have, a week and a half's worth of sales. I wouldn't say it's flying out the door at rapid speed.
Right.
I wouldn't say that the CD flew out the door at rapid speed either. It's kind of
right.
And how it works. It's a small market, and the word gets around, and the sales are relatively slow. At this point, I'm trying to get the word out that there's a digital version. I'm trying to figure out ways to find new people who haven't heard this thing yet and who aren't CD collectors. For instance, my wife teaches high school, and she has a bunch of kids that, somehow heard about this record. And she was like, oh, well, that's my husband. And they kind of went nuts. And these are kids that don't have the CD, and they're people that wanted the digital version right away. And because it's me, I gave them a copy of their own to have.
Right.
But there is an audience out there. There are a lot of people out there that like this kind of music that aren't what I'd call the core market, which would be, all of us
right.
who grew up with it. There are groups of people here and there that love this music that are, young, 16, 20, 25. It's obviously not a lot of people, but there are enough of them spread out all over the world that, there's a decent market to reach. So I'm trying to figure out ways to reach those people. And I'm, going on forums, and I'm using Reverb Nation, and, slowly but surely, and Facebook and stuff like that. One or two people a week find this thing, and, they might not buy it, but they sign on and they're, becoming a fan on Facebook or becoming a fan on Reverb Nation or something. I get an email out of the blue like, hey, I just found this record. Where did this come from?
Right.
So there's a lot of people out there. It's going to be a slow process. I think it's more important, even though I just put this disc out or this album out in digital. I think it's more important for me to get the second record done.
Right.
I feel like most of the people, if not all of the people who are going to buy this album in whatever form, at least the people who would buy it in CD format, I think everyone who's going to do that has probably bought it, except for if we play live and I can sell it directly to people there. So really what we need is new material. I mean, this stuff is 20 years old. And I've got 40 or 50 songs backlogged for this. I've got probably 4 albums worth of stuff that I could do. It's just a question of having the time to record it. So the second record, I want to get the second record out late this year, hopefully in October, so it's ready for the all-important holiday season, and see what that does. And that I think will tell us who really is into this stuff.
Right.
I mean, already I think the songs on it are better. The songs that I'm working on now, I think are better than the ones that are on Tricked Up My Sleeve, for a number of reasons. But I'm thinking it's going to be a stronger record, definitely heavier. Definitely, I got some anger issues to work out, so I'm gonna work them out on this record.
Very cool.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's nice to have the thing in digital, but I want to have the second record come out. That's I think going to be a much bigger deal in terms of finding our friends, if you will.
Right. So I definitely wish you the best, and make sure we get the CD once it's ready to go. We'll review it and try our best.
Well, I tell you, if you want to hear it in advance, I'm slowly, obviously, but I'm putting the stuff up. I have a SoundCloud membership.
Okay.
Just me, Jeff Zugale, and I am on there. I've put up some of the demos already for people to listen to.
Very cool.
Like private. It's like a small group. So if you message me and say on SoundCloud, say, hey, I want to get in on the Steele demos before everybody else hears them.
Okay.
I will let you in, and you can listen as we go. And hoping to get another song finished within the next 6 weeks.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you very much for our little chat, and hopefully we could bring some new Steele fans out of the light.
That would be pretty awesome. I mean, there's a lot of our friends back in Jersey that probably listen to your show that may not know that that Steve and I from Little Sister did another thing, and actually put a record out. So to say hi to everybody in New Jersey, because I haven't been back there in a while. And, we're doing this thing, man. We haven't been able to get the word out too much.
Right.
So thank you, Brian, for helping us get this word out. Wait a minute.
No problem. I thank you very much for giving us the talk.
Oh, no worries. Hey, call me anytime.
Talk to you later, man.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Good night.